Hello, everyone. Welcome to Coffee Break. My name is Angela, and I hope you guys are having a good Friday. Today, we're going to be talking about video files in Mylio. They work a little bit differently than your photos, and you might have noticed some things don't seem to play when you expect them to, and so forth. So, we're going to go through all of those things regarding your video files today. Before we jump in, I do want to let you know about some other events we have going on for you. This week, we had our first session of Just Ask with Lori. So Lori is here. She's helping out in the chat. She's also doing her own session every Wednesday. This is for people who are just getting started or are newer to Mylio Photos. This is a great place to go and ask your questions about adding media, setting up vaults, learning about dedupe, and those kinds of things. So please feel free to join Lori every Wednesday. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have live Q&A with me. These are Ask Me Anything sessions. You can come in whether you're brand new or you've been with us for a long time. Everybody is welcome. And questions can be on really anything that's photography adjacent. I will tackle just about anything and try to give you a good answer. And if I don't know the answer, I'll tell you that too. So please feel free to come to these Ask Me Anything sessions. They're very fun. Tuesday, Thursday, 11:30 a.m. Pacific. On Fridays, we have these coffee breaks. Next week's topic, which I didn't get my slide updated, is we are going to be talking about XMP files. So a lot of people have asked questions. What does an XMP file do? Why do I need them? Can I delete them? All of these different things will be tackled in next week's session. So we're going to go deep on metadata files, XMPs, sidecars, and all of that. So hope you guys will join me for those sessions next week. With that, let's go ahead and switch to today's session, which is from import to playback, working with videos in Mylio Photos. So what we're going to do today is talk about video files and how they behave differently from your photos in Mylio. So what we're going to cover is obviously why video is fundamentally different, what that means for storage on your phone, tablet, and computer, how Mylio Drive and Mylio Drive Plus handle video and where your limits are, how to use sync collections to put specific videos on specific devices, and what to expect when you hit play. So first off, the one thing to know about Mylio is Mylio can sync video and have your video available on your devices, but Mylio is not a video encoder. Whatever video file you bring to Mylio, that is the video file that Mylio can output. Mylio does not encode video, which means it cannot save metadata changes directly to the file. We'll talk about metadata here in a little bit. It cannot optimize your video files. So if your video file is massive, that's what Mylio has to work with. And what you see in Mylio is a thumbnail, which is the first frame of a video. So Mylio cannot encode video. There's no optimization. It's just the original. So that's something good to know as we move forward. We're going to talk about some of the implications of this here in just a moment. One of those implications is that video files are massive. They're a lot bigger than your photo files. So you need to take into consideration where you want them stored and how that affects the storage on your devices. So just for some comparison here, now this is ballpark real world estimates, and it's very generalized. Some files are gonna be bigger, some are smaller, but essentially a 30-second phone clip is gonna be somewhere between 75 and 150 megabytes. And if you get up to a full minute of video at 4K resolution, which our incredible phones these days can do a really good job of taking those kinds of videos, those can get up to 400 megabytes for just a 1 minute clip. This adds up really fast, so a folder of short video clips on your phone can easily be many gigabytes of storage. This is why a lot of times people are very excited about something like Mylio that uses optimized storage for photos, but they don't realize that because Mylio cannot optimize videos, those video files are either going to be on your phone at full quality, taking up all that space, or you're just going to have the thumbnail. Now, there are some tools out there that you can use to resize your video files. Things like Handbrake and VLC. These are both highly rated, been around for a very long time. Handbrake is, I think, the one that's most for this purpose, but VLC can do it as well. Just know that when you downsize or compress a video file, you can't ever recover the original quality from that. So what you might want to do is, if you have a big hard drive at home, have your originals, and then also have a folder with optimized ones of the ones that you want to have available on your phone. You can make smaller resolution ones, put them in that folder, and then we'll talk about this in a little bit. Tell Mylio to just sync that folder of smaller optimized images or optimized video files rather to your phone or your tablet or even your laptop so you have them. Because if Mylio doesn't have access to that full resolution file, it can't play the video. So one thing to think about is if you're away from all your services and you are cloud averse, you don't like to use the cloud, you don't want to have all Mylio put things into, say, Mylio Drive Plus, you might not have access while you're on the go. You might pull it up on your phone and be like, why won't my video play? Well, if Mylio can't access that full resolution file from one of your other devices or from the cloud, then that's all you're going to be seeing on your phone there is the thumbnail. So if there are videos that you need to have, what you want to do is make sure you kind of are picking and choosing, be very intentional and deliberate about which ones you're wanting to store on your phone or tablet or laptop. And on the ones that, if you really need to, you can downsize them. Take a look at tools like Handbrake and VLC. We're not affiliated with them, but these are just good tools out there that you might need to know of at some point. So where your video files live, I talked about the fact that you either have a thumbnail or your original file. Well, the ideal storage place for your video files are on your vaults. So what Mylio does is it puts all of your original quality media, videos, photos, documents, they are all stored on your vault devices. And since Mylio can't create a smaller version of those, wherever that video lives, it's taking up that full space. So that's why the vault is the ideal home for that. So external drives, NAS, Mylio Drive Plus, or your own cloud storage. By default, videos are not synced to other devices. So this is maybe where some of you might have hit a point of frustration, pulling it up on your phone, realizing you don't have access because you don't have a cloud and your computer at home is turned off. So Mylio can't access that original. So your phones, tablets, and computers all default to the space saver sync policy. What this means is you get optimized versions of your photos, but it does not include video files because Mylio can't optimize video and they take up, as we said, a ton of space. And Space Saver is meant to help optimize the storage space on your various devices. So just to kind of reiterate, playing a video does require the original file. So it must be available locally. Mylio can't stream video from another device or play from a thumbnail. If you don't have the local file, there is no playback. So with the default settings, that means one of two things. Your vault is physically connected to the device that you're on, or you have a cloud vault, Mylio Drive Plus, or supported cloud storage, or if you're across town, you have internet connection, your computer at home is on, and you have that peer-to-peer connection that Mylio provides, you have to be able to access that original quality video file in some way. If you're on your phone, means having a decent data plan or being on Wi-Fi someplace else to be able to pull that. You need to have at least a little bit of storage available on your phone to store that original file, at least temporarily, so you can play it. So playing a video does require having the original quality file. Now, I mentioned this a moment ago, Space Saver is the default sync policy for your phones, tablets, and computers. And it's designed to protect your device by keeping only optimized photos and thumbnails locally on that device. Videos are not stored locally using Space Saver, but you can add a sync collection. So I mentioned earlier, you can designate, say, a specific folder. You want to have everything in that folder, including video files in full quality on your phone. You can absolutely do that. I'll show you how to do that here in just a couple of minutes. But just keep in mind that if you see this thumbnail, but Mylio can't access that original, it won't be able to play. This is an expected behavior, not a bug. We do get people saying, there's a bug, I can't play my videos, but it's like, no, this is the way it's designed to help save space, and this is the way it's supposed to behave. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Mylio Drive and Mylio Drive Plus. So Mylio Drive is included with Mylio Photos Plus, and it syncs optimized photos, not videos. It syncs them to the cloud and gives you access to those files across all of your devices. It makes for a really nice browsing experience. It makes it really easy to pull things up and do stuff on your phone when you're away from your main computer. But please understand that video does not sync to Mylio Drive. If you have Mylio Drive, which is included with Mylio Photos Plus, and again, it's optional to do, or optional, sorry, it's optional to add on. You don't have to enable it, but video does not sync to Mylio Drive. So optimized photos only. Also worth noting here is because it's just optimized photos, this is not a backup. This is just to give you a better experience as you're browsing when you're out and about. We also have Mylio Drive Plus. And if you want to store your video files in the cloud, this is one option. So Mylio Drive Plus is an optional add-on upgrade to Mylio Drive. It adds on secure cloud storage, which can be configured to sync your video files. You can also designate Mylio Drive Plus as a vault to hold everything. You have options. It doesn't have to hold everything, but you can say, you know what? I want to get the lowest possible Mylio Drive Plus subscription, and I only want to put my most important videos there so I can have them to stream when I'm out and about. That is absolutely doable. You also have the option of bringing your own cloud. Mylio supports Microsoft OneDrive, Google Drive, and pretty much every S3 compatible service out there. So we're talking Backblaze B2, Amazon AWS, Wasabi, and gosh, I think iDrive E2, and there's a whole bunch of them out there. Any S3 compatible cloud storage can be used with Mylio. And again, this is a way to have all of your files, not just videos, but have those available in the cloud at full resolution. So that way you don't have to carry an SSD drive with you. You don't have to carry your vault with you. You can have the cloud available for those things that are really important. So it really determines what's in the cloud or on any device with Mylio is what we call a sync policy. These are presets in Mylio that tell Mylio what to put on every single device. So ones that include video are going to be Vault, of course, because vaults are everything. The everything policy, which is very similar. Travel backup, which will keep everything from the last 3 months, including your video files. And highest rated. So if you've marked something a 4-star or a 5-star, and that's a video file, Mylio will go ahead and keep that in full resolution on that device. Presets that exclude video are Space Saver, Photos Only, Optimized Images, and of course, Catalog Only. You're going to find these. I'm going to go ahead and switch over here to Mylio and go over here to the dashboard and devices. And I'm going to go ahead and scroll down here to let's just take a look here at my Mylio Drive Plus. I can configure this to be a lot of different things. Right now I have it set up as a vault, but I can go in here and change it to one of those other presets, and that's going to change what's stored on this device. So I could say, you know, I only want to have optimized images here, and then I can go ahead and set up a sync collection, and that's going to change what's syncing to that particular device. All right, so moving on, sync collections. This is how you add specific videos to the places that you want. So let's say that you have a handful of videos. You know you're going to be going and visiting your parents, and you have some old movies that you converted to digital, and you want to have those on your phone or your tablet so you can play them for that particular family member when you get there. You don't have to worry about the cloud. You don't have to worry about internet connections. You want those things to be locally stored on your phone or your tablet when you get there. What a sync collection lets you do is define exactly what is syncing to a specific device. So instead of relying on that preset, you can take that preset as a starting point and then add to it. So let's go ahead and take a look at this, and just keep control that there are trade-offs here, because adding video is going to take up more space on your device. If your phone or your tablet is space limited, keep that in mind. Keep an eye on how much storage you have available, and that's going to dictate what you're able to do there. I'm going to go into my dashboard and devices, and I'm going to click on my phone. And I have a specific folder of videos in my folders view that is family videos. So things that my dad actually had digitized. And let's say I'm going to go to my cousin's house and I want to show her these videos because her mom is in them. When she's a baby, are in them. Let's go ahead and put some of these videos on my phone so I don't have to take my laptop. I don't have to take a hard drive. I can just pull up my phone and show her these old family videos. So I'm going to go here into device sync policies. And right now my phone is set to Space Saver, which is the default. That's what probably most of you have going on. Down below here, you see image policies, and these are in addition to whatever preset you have up here. There are 2 tabs, and in this case, because we don't do optimized videos, we're going to stick here to the originals tab, and I'm going to say add sync collection. From here, what I can do is it's giving me an overview of my entire library, and I can use these quick filters to narrow down what I want to have included in this sync collection. So I'm going to go here by folder, and in family history, Evan's family, and I have Evan's films for Angela. So I have a handful of these videos. I want to have these always stored at full resolution on my phone. So it doesn't matter if I have internet connection. It doesn't matter if my computer at home is turned off. I can go ahead and get to these things even, in a variety of situations. So I'm going to go ahead and click done. So you got the folder here that I have selected, and hit done. And I'm just going to call this family videos and save. And now I have a sync collection here called family videos. I can go ahead and expand that. That's going to show me exactly what filter was applied there. I can click on the little eyeball here to see what's included. So that's helpful. And I could even edit that and change or modify what's there. So I could go in here and edit this and say, okay, I want those family videos, but I only want the ones that I've rated 4 and 5 stars. So let's say I had rated some of those. So everything that's 4 and 5 star in a family video, that's what's going to be included. So you have a lot of flexibility in how you create the sync collection, and then go ahead and click done, resave it. And then once you've created that, it's not applied yet. You have to go down here and click apply changes, and that will go ahead and start syncing those things to that device. So you can see now that this just jumped to needing 78 files as opposed to just needing one. So next time I bring my phone online and have Mylio open and running on my phone, those files will start syncing to my phone, and then I will have full resolution versions of those available to me at any time. So sync collections are incredibly powerful for allowing you to have videos where you need them. I really recommend doing this with some of your favorite things, especially if you're trying to be selective about what's important, what are you keeping on your phone, what's taking up that valuable real estate. Use sync collections. And this doesn't have to be just for videos. This is just one example. I'm sure you guys can think of many, many others. So setting up a video sync collection, I just walked through this. What you're going to do is start in the dashboard. Choose that preset as a starting point. If Space Saver is already selected, awesome. You don't have to change that. Catalog only works well as well. And then you're going to add that sync collection, and we're going to filter. You can also filter by file type, which is video, and then add even other specific criteria. Name it, save it, and apply the changes, and you are good to go. The other thing you can do is to be able to fetch video without the cloud is use Mylio's peer-to-peer sync. This is Mylio's superpower, in my opinion, is the fact that we can have our devices talk directly to each other without the cloud. The cloud with Mylio is 100% optional. You don't have to have Mylio Drive or Mylio Drive Plus, but you do have to have a device on and running with access to those original files. So for instance, I can have my computer at home running, it's plugged into my vault, and everything is available that way. I can be across town, and over the internet, my phone can make that peer-to-peer connection. So it goes up to the Mylio server, my computer goes up to the Mylio server, they go, oh hey, you're both logged into the same account, they create a handshake, and it can securely deliver my files device to device. Mylio's never seen that. That is what peer-to-peer sync is. So as long as you have a computer on and running that has access to those files, Mylio can fetch those over the internet. You still have to have a good internet connection. You have to have adequate data. So all of those things matter. And what happens in that instance is Mylio pulls down a temporary copy of that original file, allows you to play it, and then it sits in what we call the cache, or a temporary file, on your phone. And then when Mylio determines you no longer need that, or it needs to free up the space for something else, it offloads that file. That file is still safe and happy on your vault at home. So that's a really great way to access video when you're on your phone or your tablet, and you don't need to have those files available all the time, just right now. The other thing you can do there is to kind of speed that process up. Use the actions menu here. The actions menu is down at the bottom right corner of your phone. It's a little box with 3 lines. Tap on the video, then tap on the actions menu, say download original. That's going to go ahead and prompt Mylio to fetch that video. Typically going ahead and clicking on it and then clicking play on it will also tell Mylio to fetch it, but if for some reason that's not working, you can always manually tell it to go and download that original. So that's a very, very useful thing to have. All right, let's talk a little bit about video metadata. So I mentioned earlier, Mylio does not encode video. That also means metadata. Mylio allows you to add a lot of metadata inside the application. You can add titles, captions, you can associate a video file with a person. You can add GPS information, all of the things you can do with a picture, you can do that with a video in Mylio. But here's the thing, because Mylio does not encode video, what happens to that information is it's stored in a sidecar file, that XMP file that sits next to your video. So Mylio can never take that like it can with a picture. When you export a picture and you say include metadata, it embeds that metadata into that file. With videos, that can't happen. So you always want to, if you're sending somebody a video file and you want them to have that metadata that you also added, you also need to send them that XMP file. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. That Mylio, again, doesn't encode that. It cannot save metadata file for a video. That's something we might try to do in the future. I don't have any firm information on that, but I know a lot of you have requested video encoding, optimized versions, and so forth. So it's something that we're considering for future development, but it's not on our immediate term roadmap. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. The other thing I wanted to talk about is visual edits. Those are also stored in the XMP metadata. So it's kind of a kind of catch-22 for a lot of people. They can use the editing tools in Mylio to make their video look better, but because there's no encoding engine, the only way to enjoy those edits is within Mylio specifically. If you play the video outside of Mylio, those edits aren't going to be there. So just keep that in mind. If you spend a lot of time editing your videos in Mylio, know that again, because there's no encoding engine, the only way to watch those videos with those edits is inside of Mylio. So keep that in mind. Let's see here, the XMP, keep that with your video file. If you take an XMP with a video and hand it off to somebody else who also has Mylio, they will be able to see all of those edits as well. The XMP file is just a little text file that lives in the file system next to your video or image or whatever. You can see here in Mylio, the little screenshot I have here. Here's my file name for a video. It has the MOV for the file type. And there's that XMP that sits in the file system. If I were to right click and say reveal in Finder or reveal in Explorer, I'd see these two files right next to each other. So if for some reason you decide you don't want to use Mylio anymore, make sure you keep those XMP files because that's all of that information that you added in Mylio, your dates, your keywords, your titles and captions, and all of the rest, all of that is stored in that XMP file. If you lose that XMP file, that information that you added will be gone. All right, so just a few things to take away from this presentation that I hope make this a little bit easier to understand and workable for you as you use your videos in Mylio. First off, Mylio doesn't encode video. The video file that you bring to Mylio is the video file that Mylio has and the one that you will leave with. The only thing additional that you're going to leave with is that XMP file for any metadata you added. You'll have that XMP sitting next to it. By default, your videos live on your vaults. So because video files are huge, we typically recommend having your vault, and that's where all of your big files live. Phones, tablets, computers usually get the space saver sync policy and only get video thumbnails by default. You can use sync collections to give you more precise control to have those things stored on specific devices for when you need them. Also, cloud storage is an optional add-on. If you want to have available in the cloud all of your video files and you don't want to have to keep a drive with you or keep your computer on at home, Mylio Drive Plus is a great option, but you can also bring your own cloud. Microsoft OneDrive, Google Drive, or any S3 cloud storage also works. And again, you can configure those very deliberately like you do it with Mylio Drive Plus. It doesn't have to be Mylio Drive Plus, but those sync collections work with any cloud service. That's the beauty of one of the things that Mylio does really well. You don't have to put everything in the cloud. You have the absolute option to put only the most important things there, the things that you need to have available on the fly, and that's one really, really good use for it. And just a reminder that Mylio Drive, what comes with your Mylio Photos Plus subscription, only stores optimized photos, does not store videos, and it is not a backup for your images because it's just optimized images. And then finally, make sure you are taking the time to add some of that metadata to your videos. I know it can't be embedded, but those XMP files are really genuinely helpful. And all of those edits are searchable in Mylio. So much like everything I recommend with your photo files, that information that makes things easier to find later, take the time to do that, especially with your best videos. The ones that are the most important to you, add keywords, add titles, add captions, because when you want to go look for those later, that's the information that's going to make those easy to find. I do want to remind you that next week we've got a full line of events for you. This is last week's slide, but this gives you an idea of what to expect. Tuesday, Thursday, we have Ask Me Anything sessions with me. You can come and talk about anything that's photography related. If you are a brand new user, if you've been with us for a very long time, I will do my best to tackle all of those questions and give you straight answers. So those are at 11:30 a.m. Pacific, 2:30 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday and Thursday. On Wednesdays, we've started a new session with Lori, and she's going to be helping out new users or people who are just getting up and running with Mylio. If you have questions about those, again, open sessions, go ask questions, get a different perspective than mine. Totally cool. Go visit and hang out with her. Again, 11:30 a.m. Pacific, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Friday's coffee break next week will be on XMP files. We're going to talk about metadata, where they're saved, what to do with them, why they're there, why Mylio needs them, all those good things. So hopefully you guys will join me for that. And with that, I want to wish you guys a wonderful rest of your day. Have an excellent weekend. Go out and take some pictures, make some memories, and I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.